Hello everyone, welcome to Narayana IAS Academy Daily Current Affairs Analysis. We will discuss in this session about the important articles of Hindu and the Indian Express. About myself, I am K. Kiran Kumar Reddy and I have given UPSC CAPF interview and I have given UPSC mains also, and I have 3 years of experience in civil service teaching. Today we will start the first topic that we are going to discuss today is banning of Chinese apps. Banning of Chinese apps. See, on 25th November, Indian government, that is Ministry of Electronics and Information Technology, this ministry has banned 43 apps, right? Why it has banned is in the name of digital strike. In the name of digital strike. In the name of digital strike. And who coined this word is our Union Minister Ravi Shankar Prasad has coined this word digital strike. In the name of the digital strike. Is this the first time? Means no, it's not the first time. It happened in the month of June and it happened in the month of September. In the month of June, they have banned nearly 59 apps ranging from e-commerce to gaming like PUBG, TikTok and different e-commerce sites. E-commerce apps also got banned by the Indian government. And what is the reason? What is the reason and why this Ministry of Electronics and Information Technology is banning these apps? Can it take the decision on its own? No, it cannot take the decision on its own. It has the power to issue an order to ban the apps, but still whose report and who is going to that report means that report is given by the Ministry of Home Affairs. That report is given by the Ministry of Home Affairs, and if you want to specifically know what is that report name, it is the Indian Cybercrime Coordination Report. Indian Cybercrime Coordination Report. Indian Cybercrime Coordination Report. Along with that, there is one more body which deals about the online frauds, especially deals about the cyber crimes, that is CERT, Computer Emergency Response Team. Based upon these 2 reports, recently it has taken the decision. And what is the background of banning these apps is because this Chinese apps who is taking our personal information is storing our personal information in some other country's servers. When they store in other country servers, automatically what will happen? So even if the Indian government wants to take any type of action, that cannot be initiated because of the reason that we don't have any agreements, or if we don't have the proper friendly cordial relations, again it's a problem. So it might be data theft, or it might be you are compromising the privacy of the individual. Along with that, the main important thing is you are compromising the sovereignty, unity and integrity of India. In the name of sovereignty, unity and integrity of India, we no need to compromise. The first thing. And one more specific point is on what is the act that is used by the Ministry of Electronics and Information Technology to ban these apps is, that is section 69A of IT Act. Section 69A of IT Act, that is IT Act means Information Technology Act. Now, is there any problem? Means yes, China to somehow is saying that intentionally government of India is doing this, but our ministers and our data is showing that scrupulously, without knowingly or unknowingly, it is collecting the data from our servers and from different apps and it is storing in different area. So in this context, we can discuss about data localization also. There is one more concept called as data localization. What is data localization? Means whatever the information that is getting collected from India, that needs to be stored only in India. So that if at all something goes wrong, the government of India can take the proper measures which is required to go with that. Fine. Then the next point is, right, is the China has not complained in the World Trade Organization? Yes, but on the grounds of the sovereignty we have defended ourselves. And one more thing is there benefit or drawback for India? Means mostly you can see the pros, that is positive nature. The main positive thing in this context is, as you are making as you are making, as our Prime Minister from the time of Corona pandemic, he is proposing the Atmanirbhar Bharat Abhiyan. That means we should make indigenously sufficient ourselves in each and every aspect and each and every sphere of their life. So for that reason, okay, in the name of Atmanirbhar Bharat Abhiyan, okay, I am writing shortly. So in the name of Atmanirbhar Bharat Abhiyan, okay, we can make our own startups in the name of gaming sector, in the name of okay, cam scanner like apps, so that our youth will get the jobs, our startups will get increased, and with that indigenous technologies will increase, so that some money which we are getting, so instead of downloading that and giving some money to the foreigners, to other country, alien country, we can get our own money. Thank you. The first topic is love jihad. Okay, we will discuss about the love jihad. See, is the constitution or any other law, is the constitution or any other law has defined anything about love jihad, means is there any particular definition, means no. There is no point of love jihad in constitution, and no particular law has defined what is meant by love jihad. See why it is in news. There is so much of buzz is happening in the news and in societies about the love jihad. First we will see what is meant by it. What is meant by it? Along with that, first before going into the definition and all, first we will go for the background, or we will go for the history. Okay, when it has there and why, all the details we will discuss now. See, coming to point of the history, so pre-independence, that is before 1947, pre-independence, from the time of the pre-independence, okay, that is before 1947 itself, okay, there is a law called as anti-conversion law. There is a law called as anti-conversion law. First, before going into love jihad topic, first we will understand what is meant by anti-conversion law. See, the anti-conversion law means conversion is nothing but changing from one state to another. The same way it is for the religion, right? Converting from one religion to the another. Converting from the one religion to the another religion. Take for example, if you are a Hindu, you can convert to Christian, and if you are a Christian, you can convert to Muslim, and if you are a Muslim, you can convert to any religion, to whatever the religion you have the faith and belief, and to whatever the religion you want to change, it's up to you. And the main thing is, did the anti-conversion law is not going to support for the conversion, means yes, it is supporting. Supporting to what type of conditions? It is supporting to the conditions of voluntarily conversion. Voluntary conversion means on his own. For example, myself, if I am for example, I am Hindu, if I want to convert to some other religion, voluntarily without any coercion. Coercion means without any force or form, okay, without any fraudulent charges, that is without any mal intention or bad intention or for some other benefits. If I converted from one religion to another religion, it's a crime. But coming to point of no, non-voluntarily, by coercion or some other means, it's a crime, and that is not accepted. Now we will go for, okay, we will see in detail about, see at the time of 1930 to 1940, as we are discussing about the pre-independence, right? From the time of 1930 to 1940, okay, the most, okay, we are under the princely states. At that point of time, we don't have the independence, right? So the princely states, mostly Hindu dominated princely states have, these Hindu dominated princely states have passed an anti-conversion law. Okay, at that point of time only, they have anti-conversion. On those days, what is the reason? Because most of the Christian missionaries, okay, most of the Christian missionaries, by using different okay, lucrative things, that means by attracting, by giving free education, free physical things, they are attracting. So for that reason, the princes of those Hindu princely states have passed this law, that to safeguard the identity of the Hindus. So, and if you take at present scenario, this is the background. Till now we have discussed about the background. Now we will see the present scenario. How it is happening. Coming to the present scenario, in the present scenario, is any state is following the anti-conversion law, means at present we have 8. At present we have 8 states. See, mostly those states are Arunachal Pradesh, mostly those states are Arunachal Pradesh. See, they won't ask you in exam, but for your understanding and you can quote it in the mains perspective. Arunachal Pradesh, Odisha, Madhya Pradesh, Chhattisgarh and Gujarat, Himachal Pradesh and Jharkhand and Uttarakhand. And recently, these are 8 states, and recently Uttar Pradesh also has passed an ordinance regarding the anti-conversion law, right? We will come to the concept of UP ordinance and UP related issues little bit later. For the time being, now we will go with this. Next, see, the next thing is, take for example love jihad. Now we will see what is mean by love jihad. See, as I already told you in the initiation of the topic, that there is no particular definition about the love jihad in the constitution, and no law has defined it, that we already discussed. Now, but what the society is discussing, and what the different sections of the people are discussing about the love jihad means, mostly the person, okay, mostly a person from the Muslim community, okay, mostly from the Muslim community, a person, okay, either it might be a boy, either it might be a man, who is attracting a girl from the Hindu, okay, in the pretext of love or in the pretext of marriage or something, by lucrative or by fraudulent charges or by coercion or by force or by some other means, okay, they are trying to change the girl from Hindu to Muslim just to marry. Okay, it is the concept at present going on. Simply you can call it as it is a deliberate campaign. It is an intentionally campaign done against the Muslims. It is the deliberate campaign, and it can comes under this love jihad. You can connect even for the Islamophobia. Phobia means fear. Islamophobia, phobia is nothing but fear. Islamophobia means the fear it is created against the Muslims. Even though some people might have done wrong, it is going to impact the entire Muslim entire community is going to get impacted because of this thing. Now, before going into this, okay, and at present scenario example, Supreme Court judgments and all we will see now, right? Those Supreme Court judgments are, see, take for example in 2018. In 2018, there is one more question. Before going to that, I will tell you this question so that the explanation might be little bit useful for you. Right to marriage. Right to marriage. See, it's a direct prelims question. Right to marriage comes under which of the following article? The articles they have given is article, okay, they have given article 15, and they have given article 16, and they have given article 19, and they have given article 21. Because this appears in the exam in 2018. Now I am going to tell the story what happened in Kerala regarding this right to marriage acts. So in this 2018, a Hindu girl converted to Muslim with the name of Hadiya, Hadiya. This girl has married a Muslim man, okay, for the sake, okay, Muslim man only for the sake of marriage. And do you know the age of that girl? 25. But her father, that is Hadiya's father, has complained to the police personnel stating that this girl got attracted because of this, because by showing something. But finally, the Hadiya husband has approached the Kerala High Court, but the Kerala High Court has not given him any relief. So finally, he approached the Supreme Court, and finally Supreme Court at that point of time, at present Chief Justice, at present judge of the Supreme Court, who is the D.Y. Chandrachud, one of the judges, is there at that point of time also, and he quoted that excuse me, and he quoted that marriage and plurality are the fundamental core of our culture. Right? Along with that, marriage is related to the consent of the adults, and as per the Marriage Act also, if a girl got crossed 18 years and if a boy got crossed 21 years, they are free to marriage. And in the same Supreme Court judgment, they have quoted that, okay, the body of a woman is like a sanctum and sanctorum, which is pure, and it is her property that to whomever they wish with whomever she is dreaming to have a life, with them they can have their own life. So this is the statement in 2018. Now see, still so much of incidents is happening here and there, and mostly states like Uttar Pradesh, which passed ordinance recently, and along with that some states like Madhya Pradesh, Haryana and Karnataka, these states are also moving towards to passing ordinance, or they want to discuss about this love jihad issue, and they want to pass anti-conversion law in the next in the next session instead of going for the ordinance. Now we will see this marriage is also, you can say that marriage itself is a matter of personal liberty. Okay, the marriage itself is a matter of personal liberty, that is personal choice given by the constitution itself. So as how can a state, here question comes that about the fundamental rights. Okay, about the fundamental right exclusively, that is article 25 of the constitution, right to freedom of religion. This the article is right to freedom of religion. How can a government, that is the state government, how can a government can curtail the freedom which is guaranteed by the constitution, that is right to freedom of religion, that is article 25. Through right to freedom of religion, you can marry anyone or you can convert into any religion without forcing anyone. So this is one aspect. And coming to the point of the present scenario, that is in the case of Uttar Pradesh government, where they have passed an ordinance, See, I will just give a brief idea about what is ordinance. This ordinance is nothing but, whenever Uttar Pradesh is a bicameral state, we all know about that. Bicameral means where the state is having both the legislative assembly as well as the legislative council. So when the houses, that is the legislative assembly and the legislative council is not running, or when they are not in session, at that point of time we will go for the ordinance. And this ordinance at the state level can be issued by using an article 213 of the constitution, and this article in this case of state level will be promulgated or given by the governor of that particular state. Yes, they have passed the ordinance. Now we will see in detail about what they are talking in that particular ordinance. And they have brought three different punishments in the case of the ordinance. That those three different punishments related to that UP ordinance and the anti-religious conversion is this. We will go with one by one. The first one here in this case is, the first one in this case is, if at all through misrepresentation, that means by giving false information, by giving misrepresentation, or by force, or by undue influence, or by fraudulent charges. So if with any of these, this is the first condition, with any of these things, okay, if a person tries to convert a girl to Muslim, okay, in the pretext of love, or if any of these things, then a person will be charged a jail term, that is the punishment of the jail term will be 1 year to 5 years, and 1 year to 5 years, and minimum fine of 15,000 rupees will be charged on that particular person who got accused and who found guilty finally. This is the first condition. Now coming to the point of second condition. The second condition is, if at all to whomever you are forcing and converting to Muslim by contravention of the law, by against of the law, in this case if that girl is a minor, see, minor marriage itself is a crime, but still if you are converting in such a way, so then the punishment will increase, that is from 3 to minimum of 3 to maximum of 10 years, and with a fine of 25,000 rupees, So in the third context, if the conversions is found in a mass level, so at that point of time, the jail term is common, that is 3 to 10 years. The jail term is common, that is 3 to 10 years, and the fine is of 50,000 rupees. Okay, these are the three things. See, we cannot come to conclusion that this ordinance is going to become a law after the house got summoned back again, because it is violating Article 25 of the Constitution, which itself is a fundamental right, because as it is the fundamental right, you can approach directly Supreme Court by using Article 32, that is right to constitutional remedies. This Article 32 is also called as heart and soul of the Constitution. And along with that, if at all, if out of the three, we have discussed 3 points, right? First, charges related to minor charges of conversion of in a mass level and an individual. If at all, if this person found guilty, then the marriage itself will be annulled. This marriage itself will become invalid, that is null and void. This is unconstitutionally null and void, and this unconstitutionally it is wrong. So, from the side of the Constitution is wrong means unconstitutional in a simple manner. This is the perspective from the side of the Constitution, right? And moreover, just with the mere incidents, from the societal perspective, just by the mere incidents, that means just with minor number. And moreover, there is a case study related to this case of love jihad, which happened in Kanpur. In Kanpur, what happened is, okay, some parents went to the police station, stating that, okay, our girl, that is the daughter of their parents, as abducted, and those okay, that lady got attracted due to something. But finally, the special task force got appointed by the state government, and this task force, after inquiring that lady and after discussing with that lady, that is the girl, and they came to a conclusion that no, that lady has not converted to the Muslim by the coercion. Coercion means that lady has not converted to Muslim by the force. She voluntarily has married that boy, Muslim boy, on her wish and will. So, we can come to a conclusion that just by mere incidents, we cannot criticize the entire Muslim population, first aspect. And the second aspect is, if you do this, automatically the secular fabric of our country is going to disturb. Secular fabric means India is the country where all the religions are equally safeguarded compared with each other. So, this fabric is going to get disturbed, and we will get a bad reputation in the outside world. See, if you talk about the UN perspective, already India is facing a lot of criticism in the view of Jammu Kashmir issue, and again, if this Islamophobia and love jihad and these concepts become a law backed program, then it is going to attract a lot of criticism from the outside world and from the civil society itself. But still, coming to the conclusion, we have to wait and watch what the courts is going to give the judgment in this context.